All carbohydrates turn into sugar. Your body doesn't care whether that sugar came from a teaspoon of table sugar or a bowl of whole grains. It still gets broken down into glucose.
Well, technically speaking, not all carbohydrates turn into glucose. Carbs have the capability to be turned into fat or also into certain non-essential proteins. But let's keep watching.
So when you're consuming these grains, fruits, and vegetables, you are still elevating your blood sugar. These raised blood sugar levels trigger an insulin response because insulin is what tells your cells to take in sugar. But too much sugar inside your cells is toxic for it. So once these cells are full, the sugar from carbohydrates gets blocked out and stays in your bloodstream, gradually causing blood sugar levels to rise over time. Also, when insulin levels are high, it blocks another hormone called leptin. Leptin is what says to your brain, hey, we're full, we can stop eating now. So when you eat carbohydrates for a very long time, your blood sugar levels and appetite will increase.
No. There are a couple of points that need to be addressed. But let's start with a question. He makes it seem that elevated blood sugar levels are bad for you. Notice how it didn't give you any number. At which blood sugar levels does it get dangerous for us? Because for most people, the blood sugar levels don't go above 180 milligrams per deciliter or 10 millimoles per liter. And blood sugar levels usually also start to normalize themselves after 2 hours of eating. I would really love to hear at what you consider to be a dangerous blood sugar spike. While you're doing that and trying to give us an answer, please provide evidence, because you did not provide a single piece of evidence for all your claims. Then you also mention insulin release. Well, that's also a very flawed argument, because how much insulin gets released doesn't tell us anything about the health effects of certain foods, nor how satiating or not satiating these foods are. This is greatly highlighted in this study. The graph shows how much insulin is released for certain foods. If we go by his logic, then beans must be less healthier and less satiating than French fries, white bread, donuts, croissants, cakes, crackers, cookies, and ice cream. I would also love to read whatever evidence you can provide here as well, because the evidence that I've seen is clearly not in your favor and points actually in the opposite of what you are trying to convey with your video. The last point about carbs not being satiating has been tested a lot. And when I say a lot, I truly mean a lot. The best paper I can recommend anybody to read is the following paper. This study, released by Kevin Hall and colleagues, did not only summarize the energy balance model, but also the carbohydrate insulin model, the one that he was just referring to. They look over rodent studies, observational studies, genetic studies, intervention studies in humans, and even pharmaceutical studies. The bulk of evidence is clearly pointing into the direction that it's not the carbs. How satiating a food can be has to do with a lot of different factors. But in general, a diet rich in whole plant-based foods seems to have the best chances to be really satiating. And this might also be why a lot of vegans have lower BMIs. And in case you're watching this and feeling like, well, you're vegan, you're biased, of course you're saying that, then rewind the tape and listen to what I said earlier again. I said rich in whole plant-based foods, not only whole plant-based foods. Although I guess you can, and that's what I choose to eat for myself personally. But I like to take my vegan glasses off when I look at the data. And the data clearly shows, and that's the beauty of it, that there's no be-all, end-all diet. And this is personally why I choose to eat the whole plant-based food diet. Because this diet does not only seem to be the most sustainable one for the environment, but for the animals as well.